Welcome to Exam Fox.
Unveiling glimpses of the past. This captivating pictorial story is an adaptation from the significant historical work, The Freedom Struggle, offering visual insights into the past.
What social practices were common in India before 1857? Child marriage. This prevalent practice involved the marriage of children, often at a very young age, primarily affecting girls and limiting their societal roles. Untouchability. A deeply entrenched system of social exclusion and discrimination where certain communities were deemed untouchable and faced severe marginalization. Oppression of women. Women often faced significant oppression, including limited access to education, property rights, and various forms of social and familial discrimination.
How were farmers treated by the British? Heavy taxation. Farmers were subjected to exorbitant taxes, leaving them with minimal income from their land and harvests. Forced cash crops. They were compelled to cultivate specific cash crops, such as indigo, instead of food, severely impacting local food security. Endemic poverty. These policies collectively pushed vast numbers of farmers into deep and inescapable poverty, destabilizing rural communities.
What did the Indian craftsmen suffer under British rule? Unequal competition. Indian handicrafts, meticulously made by hand, struggled to compete with the speed and scale of British machine-made goods. Diminished demand. The influx of cheaper, mass-produced British imports flooded the markets, significantly reducing demand for local products. Industry collapse. This economic pressure led to the collapse of traditional Indian industries and widespread unemployment among craftsmen.
Who introduced Western education in India? British introduction. Western education was introduced by the British, establishing a new system of learning in India. Creating clerks. A primary objective was to train Indians for administrative roles as clerks and lower-level officials. Loyal servants. This education aimed to cultivate a class of individuals loyal to British rule and their interests.
What reform did Raja Ram Mohan Roy campaign for? Abolition of sati. Raja Ram Mohan Roy tirelessly campaigned against the cruel practice of sati, leading to its eventual ban. Opposition to child marriage. He actively fought against child marriage, striving to eradicate this social evil that affected young girls and boys. Promotion of women's education. A strong advocate for gender equality, he championed women's education as a crucial step for societal progress and empowerment. What did Raja Ram Mohan Roy tell people about learning? Embrace Western knowledge. He encouraged Indians to learn from the advancements, sciences, and philosophies of the West, fostering intellectual growth and progress. Avoid blind imitation. However, he cautioned against blindly imitating Western ways, emphasizing the importance of critically absorbing ideas while preserving India's unique cultural heritage. What happened on 10th May 1857? The Meerut Uprising. On May 10, 1857, Indian soldiers, known as sepoys, initiated a significant revolt in Meerut, sparking independence. This decisive act is widely recognized as the momentous event that marked the beginning of India's first war of independence.
Why were Indian soldiers unhappy with the British? Low salaries. Indian soldiers were paid significantly less than their British counterparts, creating deep resentment and dissatisfaction. Unfair treatment. They faced constant discrimination and harsh treatment from British officers, who often regarded them as inferior. Greased cartridges. The introduction of new rifle cartridges, rumored to be greased with cow and pig fat, deeply offended both Hindu and Muslim sepoys due to religious beliefs.
Name two leaders of the revolt of 1857. Rani Lakshmibai of Jhansi, a courageous queen and one of the leading figures of the Indian Rebellion of 1857. Bahadur Shah Zafar, the last Mughal emperor who was declared the Emperor of India by the Indian sepoys during the revolt.
How did the East India Company gain control over India? Arrival as traders. The British East India Company initially arrived in India primarily as a trading entity focused on commercial ventures and trade routes. Conquest and deceit. They systematically defeated Indian rulers through a combination of wars, strategic treaties, and deceptive political tactics. Reduced to powerless figures. This gradual expansion led to the takeover of numerous kingdoms, effectively reducing Indian kings to powerless figures under British dominion. What was the impact of British land policies on Indian farmers? Forced crop cultivation. Farmers were compelled to grow commercial crops like indigo and cotton, diverting land from essential food production. Widespread famine. This shift in agriculture, combined with other factors, led to severe food shortages and widespread famine across India. Burden of heavy taxes. Additionally, farmers remained heavily burdened with high taxes, exacerbating their poverty and economic distress.
Explain how the Indian industries collapsed under British rule. Market flooded. Cheap machine-made British goods inundated Indian markets, making it impossible for local artisans to compete with their handcrafted products. Livelihoods lost. Indian craftsmen, who relied on their skills for sustenance, suffered greatly as demand for their traditional goods plummeted, causing widespread unemployment. Industries undermined. The British actively discouraged and suppressed local Indian industries, intentionally leading to economic decline and deep poverty among artisans.
What role did reformers like Raja Ram Mohan Roy play in society? Reformers like Raja Ram Mohan Roy courageously fought against harmful social practices, such as sati and child marriage, leading efforts for their abolition. They actively encouraged the adoption of modern education, believing it was essential for societal advancement and progress. Furthermore, these reformers inspired people to think rationally and critically, fostering intellectual discourse and challenging traditional beliefs. Why were the educated Indians discontented with the British? Enlightened by Western ideals. Educated Indians embraced Western concepts of liberty, equality, and rational thought, inspiring aspirations for self-governance. Racial discrimination. Despite their intellectual grasp of these ideals, the British consistently treated educated Indians as inferiors, causing deep resentment. Denied real opportunities. They were systematically denied meaningful opportunities for advancement in administration and society despite their qualifications. Describe the immediate cause of the revolt of 1857. The introduction of new rifle cartridges, rumored to be greased with cow and pig fat, became a major point of contention. This deeply hurt the religious beliefs of both Hindu soldiers, who consider cows sacred, and Muslim soldiers, who consider pigs unclean. The perceived violation of their faith sparked widespread anger and was the immediate cause that ignited the revolt of 1857.
How did common people support the revolt of 1857? United front. Farmers, artisans, and local kings actively allied with the sepoys, forming a broad front against the British, offering shelter and aid. Common people played a crucial role by providing essential shelter and support to the rebelling sepoys and fighters. Joining the fight, they bravely participated in direct combat, fighting alongside the sepoys against the British forces across diverse regions of India.
Why is the revolt of 1857 called the First War of Independence? A united struggle. It marked the first widespread and united struggle of various Indian factions against British dominance. Diverse participation. From soldiers to peasants to kings and ordinary people, a diverse cross-section of Indian society joined forces. Against British rule. This collective uprising laid the foundation for India's eventual independence from British colonial rule. What was the role of Rani Lakshmi Bai in the revolt of 1857? Bravely fought. Rani Lakshmi Bai bravely led her forces and fought valiantly against the British, demonstrating exceptional courage on the battlefield. Refused to surrender. She steadfastly refused to surrender her kingdom of Jhansi to the British, embodying an unyielding spirit of independence. Symbol of resistance. Her unwavering resolve transformed her into an iconic symbol of courage and resistance, inspiring many during the revolt of 1857. What is the main message of the lesson, Glimpses of the Past? The lesson highlights the severe exploitation of India under British rule, where resources were plundered and the local population faced immense hardship. It also sheds light on the significant social reforms that emerged during this period, addressing outdated customs and promoting societal progress. Crucially, the lesson emphasizes how unity and courage among the Indian people ignited the first great struggle for freedom against colonial oppression.
Like, share, comment, and subscribe Exam Fox.